What is up, guys? My name is Lonelywolf, coming at you with a bit of a news drop for you guys. Hinterland has just confirmed that there is a new update coming to the sandbox mode of the Long Dark. Now, this is going to be pretty eventful. There's a lot of things included in this update that a lot of us have been excited for a long time to come. So without any further ado, we're going to jump right in and start dissecting what's coming out, what isn't, and what all is involved. So stick around, pull out that hype train, and get it rolling down the tracks as fast as you can, because this update is right around the corner. Now, the first thing you guys should be excited about, and that I am excited about as sandbox players, and even if you're story mode players, this will likely play in there too, maybe not, is there is a new region coming out to us in this update. They've given it a tentative placeholder name of River Valley, and this region has some new features that they've been working on with both their production pipeline in Unity and some other things they've been wanting to test out for just the game engine itself and how you play and with the mechanics that are included. First things to note that come to some very exciting things for this region is they've updated and improved the waterfall visuals, so it should look more realistic and interesting. So far all they've given us is a little gift for that, so you can't really see a whole lot with it, but it does look cool for what they've shared. Next thing to note is that they've included, with their new production method, much steeper vertical rock faces in this region. So there's a whole new layout and the design work of how the terrain features function. So that's going to be cool. They've teased in the last dev diary that they're going to be including some new things with climbing that doesn't involve ropes. That's going to involve natural formations, be it in the rock or through root systems from plants, etc. So I have a feeling that's going to be included in this region. Obviously not confirmed in this dev diary, but considering what they've released to us so far, I wouldn't say it's beyond the realm of possibility. The next big thing to note about this region is that there are no man-made structures in it anywhere. It's purely a wilderness survival region. We've already had a good taste of that with Forlorn Muskeg. However, there are a few man-made shelters like the derailment on the tracks, the logs on the far end of the train tracks, and the Spence family homestead. So all of that combined gives Forlorn Muskeg some actual man-made structures to survive in, whereas this upcoming region will not have any of that at all, which is going to be very interesting, especially for those of you who like to get the living off the land achievement or just don't want to bother about having a cabin or something to go climb in. So you guys shouldn't have to worry about cabin fever here. They have also toyed around with some new tree densities and some other things with region production that they say is going to force the player to focus more on the horizon. I think that's really cool. They've also teased a new image, just concept art, not actual in-game footage, sadly, but of ice caves with bioluminescent moss, which look sick. They look absolutely gorgeous, and I cannot wait to see these in-game. This is going to be a really incredible region. I can't wait to begin exploring it and finding out everything about it top to bottom. I love it when new regions come out because I've gotten so familiar with different other regions that currently exist in the Long Dark that it feels like I'm starting Long Dark all over again when I have a new region to go explore. It's really awesome. I'm looking forward to this new region a whole lot. Now, the next thing to be super hyped over, maybe not, for some people this may become a divisive topic, but for me it's let's just get that hype train a-running, is improved cooking. And what they're doing with this is they are pushing cooking out into the real-time game space, so you're no longer tied up in a menu, so that you'll be able to multitask and do other things while cooking, and be able to cook multiple things at once depending on the quality of your fire source, be it campfire, fire barrel, the potbelly stoves in the fishing huts and in some of the cabins, and the full-on huge stoves that you can find in like Pleasant Valley Farmstead, those super huge old cast iron stoves. And they're going to be implementing new things with different cooking utensils and stuff. This may pave the way for recipes for some more sustained meals coming out. Whole lot of interesting things going on here. So the important things to note is that cooking will, in this update, begin taking place in real time. You'll be able to place food out on stones around the campfire or on cooking spots on top of the stove, and you'll be able to cook multiple items at once if the stove or fire is large enough to support that. And it will happen in the real-time space, so you can do other things while you wait for your meal to cook or your water to boil. Now this is really exciting because now it's going to give players more time to do things throughout the day. I am a little bit tempered in my excitement for this feature though, as I do have a few concerns as to how it could be implemented. They haven't listed a whole lot in the dev diary here, but what they do tell us is very good to know, and just really exciting. But what I am concerned about is cooking times and whether or not there is a burned mechanic or loss of calories mechanic with the cooking, because if that exists and cooking times aren't very long, I won't feel like I'll have time to do anything else. So if it's going to take my steak a half hour to cook, and I know I can go darn my socks in a half hour and get them repaired back up, then I can go and do that and just let the food cook. And if the food gets done before I'm done with the socks, you know, it doesn't burn or anything, that'd be great. But if there's a burn mechanic included with this real-time cooking, that could put a dampener on what you are able to complete while you're waiting for your food to cook. Of course, if you have an outdoor campfire, you could go hunt sticks down, chop a log or something while you wait for your water to boil. And this is definitely going to free up some time throughout the day, but it's also going to make things a tiny bit more stressful for some players, as it's going to be one more thing to kind of micromanage as you go about your day when it comes time to cook things, as you'll no longer be tied up in the menu. You can now actually spend your time doing technically two things at once. This has been a long requested feature in the wishlist forums on Steam and the official Hinterland Long Dark website, so it's been a long time coming. They've gone through a lot of preliminary models that they haven't been happy with, but they said they're really happy with how things have turned out with this model, so I'm incredibly excited to see this land in the update. So that is a really cool feature that I'm incredibly excited for. Just throw some more coal on the hype train for me right there. The next thing they're adding in with this update is the inclusion of buffer memories, which will be memories from the past that you can find in the game world, such as on computers and other devices, and possibly even on dead corpses. Now what these will include is tips and clues and different lore to the game world, and they'll be able to be found or be active during Aurora events to give you something else to do while you're inside. And this will open up kind of a different exploration mechanic, as a lot of players feel unsafe being outside during Auroras due to the increased hostilities in wildlife. And so if you've already got all your general housekeeping caught up on, you know, all your clothing repaired, everything harvested, everything crafted, every book read, this will be another thing for you to be able to do during Aurora events to make the time go by and to learn a lot more about the world around you. They've also hinted that this could be used to give away locations of different supply caches or prepper caches, or at least help guide you with hints on the direction of where they may actually exist in the game world, which also kind of hints that they may be used in story mode as well, because we've yet to see actual supply caches, you know, the little box that you can find in story mode, in Sandbox. So maybe they're including those in Sandbox, or else I've just been ignorant and missed them if they are in Sandbox. And also to prepper caches, which we already know do exist in Sandbox, but not quite exactly in story mode, at least not yet. So this is another exciting addition coming in. Interested to see how it works out. For me, this isn't necessarily something to get super hyped over, but it is nice that they're updating us on what they're going to be including and how it's going to function, how it's going to change how the user experiences the world, and I think that is important. Now, another thing Hinterland has added, or changed I should say, is how the dialogue interface works in story mode now, so that when the episodes 1 and 2 Redux comes out, you'll be able to experience this. That should put some more emotional impact and urgency into things. And they've also redone the mission structure throughout 1 and 2 to open things up to more player choice, that they can do things as they wish and what they feel like they need to do and don't need to do. So a lot of the fetch quests and other things are now going to be optional. You're not going to have to do them, which is going to change a lot of things and people's perceptions about it, and I think it's for the better. Also, they've released news on Episode 3 coming out, which is that they has no news yet when Episode 3 is coming out. Or rather, not that they don't have any news, but the time is not right yet to share any news on Episode 3. I would say that we're probably going to have to wait one more update cycle after this one to get episode 3. And I know that's going to be a bit rough to hear, but that's honestly where things are. And considering the size of the studio, I'm honestly not surprised on this count, because they really are splitting their attention between two different modes of the game. And so if they were consistently just focused on story mode, we'd probably be reaching episode 4 or 5 by now. But because they are both focusing on sandbox and story mode, and the fans and the player base behind each, and of course those that enjoy both, they have to split their production and work cycles between the two to be able to continue to deliver updates to both. So that's where story mode stands, and where they're doing things with episodes 1 and 2 to make them far more enjoyable and interactive, and put a sense of urgency behind it that kind of was lacking in the original versions of it. And so that's going to be really great to see. I'm excited to see how that plays out. I'll definitely be going through and redoing episodes 1 to 2 to see how the mission structure has changed and how they've opened it up. So that's going to be really great to see. Now the final thing they've given us is a teaser, which is for a bear spear. Now this is cool because it shows that they're giving options to players for different aspects on how to handle hostile wildlife. I don't know if this is going to be an object that can be thrown or is just held and used to, stab into the ground and hold against a charging bear, or what. It's going to be interesting to see the gameplay that arises out of the use of this bear spear, and how it's going to play out in the realm of weapons, whether it be ranged or melee only, or a hybrid between both. And I think that's going to be really cool to see. Obviously, that's kind of just a tentative addition. They're still working on fleshing it out fully, and so there's a lot of things that need to be done with that. So the final question you guys may be asking is, when is this update coming? Well, it's going to depend on internal testing, validation, and publishing to get everything worked out, but they're expecting a release either here in late May or early June. Now, this is just my own personal speculation based off of past releases of updates, but I would expect it to land anywhere between the dates of May 20th and June 15th. I could obviously be wrong, but I wouldn't expect it any earlier than that, and I don't think they'd go really any later than that in June. Obviously, we're all going to be very hyped for this. We're going to be having a lot of excitement. So it's going to be very interesting to see what this update brings to the table, and I can't wait as soon as it lands to get that update installed and go exploring that new region. And of course, as always, if you'd liked and enjoyed the video, go ahead and leave a comment. Tell me what else you'd like to see me cover, games or news, etc. Consider subscribing if you aren't already to get those juicy updates on videos as they drop. And I will catch you guys in the next one. Stay classy and stay warm out there.